My name is Fiona Burrell and I'm the principal of the Edinburgh Newtown Cookery School, which is based in Queen Street in central Edinburgh. Today we're looking at some recipes that are from old cookery books, which I have slightly translated. Some of the things have been changed a little bit, but they are old-fashioned recipes. One of them Scotch broth, which obviously people know a lot about now and still drink. Mulligatawny soup, which is quite an interesting soup, and it's less seen now, but it is something that was incredibly popular. So this would be a starter. Yeah, they would have it at the beginning. They might have had it at lunchtime, but they certainly could have had it in the evening before a main meal, and you know, as part of the meal. But it wouldn't. I mean, we might think, gosh, that's quite a hearty soup, and have it as a meal. But I think it probably would have formed part of the meal. I mean, they did eat a huge amount. This was one of my father's favourite soups. If ever he saw it on a menu, he would always have it as a starter. Everything in here is going to be staying in sort of bits, so it's not going to be whizzed up. So when you chop, you just want to make sure that you have nice sort of even pieces of the onion. So chop it evenly and then just nice little bits. And this goes into the soup and is cooked with the meat. Put the onion into the pan. Okay, then I need a clove of garlic, and you can either crush that or you can chop it, doesn't really matter which you do because it's cooked for such a long time. So I will probably just chop it. So that's my garlic ready to go. And then we want to put in some parsley. And now it says marjoram in the recipe, and marjoram you can get hold of, but it's not that easy unless you grow it. So you could use some oregano instead. And then just chop it down. This is stewing beef, and the stewing beef we've cut down into quite small little bits, so they're just little cubes. So if you buy it as already cut, you might need to cut it down a bit more. And that's what it talks about. So you just keep stewing that like that until it starts to evaporate away. So I'm now going to add my water. And it doesn't look pretty, this soup at this stage. It's and then add the pearl barley, salt, and pepper. Now I don't need to go mad with the pepper because I will be adding a lot more pepper later on when it comes to the curry powder. So put the lid on and just let that get on and cook. So once it all looks sort of, you know, a little bit whiter, I'm just going to take a lid, turn it down. So it's too high at the moment, so I'm going to turn it down to about 5 and let it just carry on cooking. I'll keep an eye on it and make sure it's okay. So I need measuring spoons for this. Where's my ½ teaspoon? Okay, I just have to. Okay, so I have got ground coriander. Now, the recipe actually states seeds, but if you've got seeds and you've got a good spice grinder, that's fine, you can use that. And so it's I love ground coriander, it's got such a wonderful smell. So tablespoon of that. And if it says a measuring spoon, a measured amount, tablespoon, this is what you always use. Don't use the old-fashioned tablespoons because they vary. Although, having said that, of course, they would have had very different sizes of things, so everything was a little bit chaotic, I think, with how they did things.
So would they have used a tablespoon?
They would have used an old-fashioned tablespoon, but nowadays tablespoons are very different. I don't know if I've got any in here. I haven't got any old-fashioned ones, but that might be a tablespoon, and that might be a tablespoon, but they're different shapes, so they probably have different quantities. So, the old-fashioned one, where they were all more or less the same size, was not so bad. So this is black pepper. I don't want to inhale this, but that's going in. And the cayenne. Now the cayenne, the amount in the recipe is quite a lot, and I thought, I'm not sure I want to blow my head off in quite that way. So I've just put ½ a teaspoon.
Do you know how much was in the original recipe?
Well, the original recipe, I've got it here actually, the original recipe I've cut down. So it was 7 ounces of coriander seed, 6 ounces of black pepper, 1 ounce of cayenne, which is like 30 grams, and a teaspoon. So I've divided this down sort of to make it like 15 grams is a tablespoon, so that would be a 15 gram measure. Okay, so that's how it's worked out. So I've cut the cayenne that they put in here by about half, just because I'm not sure how hot their cayenne was compared to how hot it is now as well. Turmeric was 6 ounces, and the cumin seed was 1 ounce. So, it's all just broken down a little bit. And the turmeric, obviously, it needs the turmeric for the colour, as apart from anything else. It's beautiful, beautiful yellow, which will stain everything. And then the other thing is, I should have some cumin, yeah. So cumin, I'm just putting a teaspoon of that in. To the water. So this is going in, but you put the milk onto the chicken, come up to the boil. I'm going to add this to this rather extraordinary soup. It often says juice of half a lemon, which is a bit meaningless because you don't know, every lemon's different. So put in probably about a tablespoon. maybe a bit more. And then I would add the rest onto the plates when you serve it. What it's like. It's quite interesting. I'm going to just and it's got parsley on it, but actually it strikes me that something that would be quite nice and it would be mint. I mean, you just don't see it these days. Quite unusual, isn't it?